5 in the morning and we're back again with another full day of eating, but this time it's another refeed day, and this is to re-energize, replenish, and get rid of this digestion issue that I've been feeling. Because I'll be honest, the past 2 weeks has been rough, as I've really felt this cut. We're currently 3 weeks out from the photo shoot, and yeah, the past 2 weeks has been really rough. And I mean, to the point where I've had no energy. I've had to really dig deep and do my morning cardio, dig deep and work all day, dig deep and go to the gym. Everything has just been so much effort, and I started to worry a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, because, you know, like for instance today it's another morning and not wanting to wake up at 5 a.m, but I do it anyway. You know, I very rarely, I always want to wake up early, you know, what everybody does. The thought of it is so much better than actually doing it. But, you know, at that moment in time, it's always a struggle to wake up. So I'm always doing things regardless of how I feel, but this has been different, this feeling. It's been bad, it's been rough, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I spoke to my coach, told him what the crack were, and he said, right, let's put 2 high days in there. I'm gonna recommend you some supplements, and you know, let's just get the energy back up, replenish the glycogen, re-energize, and hopefully it'll, you know, get some bowel movement and fix this digestion issue. So he did recommend me some greens, some daily greens and probiotics. However, well, I have listened to him and I have got them, but the ones he recommended, I did some research in, and I'm always, you know, I want to forever look good, I want to forever feel good, but I'm always prioritising my health. That's the most important thing for me. And I did a lot of research into probiotics, and a lot of them had stabilisers, preservatives that is companies just look for profit. But anyway, without boring you, same thing with the greens. A lot of them just have cheap grass and heavy metals. Apparently, you know, the #1 company in America have a lot of greens in them. So we've gone with Free Sol FS greens, which seems like a bit of me. You know, no added sugar, no artificial flavours, no synthetic shit, no GMOs. So yeah, so we've got this, and I'll show you the probiotics later. I did a lot of research for about 3 to 5 days on probiotics and daily greens, so hopefully this will sort the job out. And don't know where they are, but let's also put some prunes on in today's high day. Obviously I'll go through everything, but they're going to be really good for pre-workout, you know, high carb, high sugar, and the increased bowel movement, and they're good for digestion. So hopefully that's going to make a difference. So I'm going to make my new morning drink, which is Element Electrolyte, the daily greens, and I'm going to start being religious with creatine again and see if it really does make a difference, because I've never noticed it make a difference. So I'm going to make this, go do my 50 push-ups, post it on my Instagram story, and then get into an hour work block on the laptop. Got a bit to do today, and then we're going to do fasted cardio. So got to be quiet because my mum's in bed. But so I'm just gonna get about 45-minute work block done on the laptop. I'm currently building out a program, like a step-by-step process to help people get into the motion, get into the flow of being the best version of your current self, because people find it hard to go from 0 to 100, you know, as you do with anything. You can't just jump into a marathon, you have to do blocks of certain runs, you know, long run, short run, fast run, slow run, whatever. And I feel like I'm starting to realise that's the same thing for personal development and physique and mindset development. So I want to I'm currently building out a program and like a step-by-step process of, you know, going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, doing a hard action, like, you know, I've got it written down on my whiteboard, like the routine, the nutrition, the training, and I want to add tasks and step-by-steps in that program to help people, because if you can't get a grip on your structure, on your planning, then you're never going to see a transformation, because it's going to feel like it consumes you. You know, if your structure is messy, you're not going to have time to meal prep, you're not going to have time to train, you're not going to have time to eat, to cook, to food shop, anything, or to look after yourself. You know, it's a basic necessity to have a structure, especially as a man. You know, if you haven't got structure, you're childish. Now, everybody's routine is different, and I get that, but you need to at least have some structure to the routine. If the routine's all over, you can at least have structure to it. So I just pulled up to the gym. I had a bit longer at home than expected, because one of my boys just rang me asking for some advice, and I ended up being on the phone to him for an hour. So, you know, duty called in that aspect. Didn't get too much done on the laptop that I would have liked. Got about half an hour, and then he ended up ringing me. So we're a little bit behind schedule. It's just gone 7 a.m. now. I wanted to be here for about 6:30, but it is what it is. Really, you know, relationships and friendships come first. So, but it just kind of, you know, the conversation we had just kind of flipped something in me, and I'm always thinking about it, but I'm always telling people to rewire the mindset, change your identity, re-identify yourself. And a lot of people seem to struggle with it. And I don't know if that's because I've been blessed or... No, it's not. I've had to rewire my mindset. I've had to re-identify myself. Now, that's not through past trauma, but it's through not being happy with past actions. Laziness, you know, not being happy with how I look, being in a bad mental state, you know, being anxious, all the things that don't equal a good mindset or a good physique or just being a good person. So slowly but surely, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, I had to re-identify myself. I had to change. I had to constantly look for ways to improve myself. And changing your identity, rewiring your mindset is such an important thing. And when I say it, what I mean is to change your perspective on certain situations. And I was just saying to my boy, instead of thinking now straight all the time, you know, you're thinking straight, which is leading you to overthink, leading you to be negative, leading you to stay in your current state. Change your perspective ever so slightly and think more on a curved line rather than a straight line. And the explanation I'm trying to give is you need to change your perspective, change your frame of mind. And it's easy to say, you know, and it is easy to say it. But if you live it and you, for instance, for me, if I don't wake up before 5:30 every day, I feel like I'm not going to achieve my goals. I feel like I'm not going to get the results I want. Now, although that might be true or it might not, I've rewired my mindset, changed my perspective and my frame of mind in order to believe that. So if I didn't wake up at 5:05 today, I believe I'm not going to achieve my goals in the future or near future, whatever it may be. So that's where rewiring your mindset comes from. It's a different perspective, a different frame of mind. You know, it's positive and negative way of thinking.
but it's not always going to be positive. But if you're constantly thinking for a purpose, constantly thinking on a curved line rather than a straight line that every average person does, that suffers with depression, anxiety, mental health issues, physical issues, health issues, the thinking on a straight line rather than a curved. So I hope that makes sense, because that's the advice I gave my boy, and that's the advice I live by every fucking day, and that I'd give anybody. Is it's your actual perspective and your frame of mind and your outlook on things, and that comes from reaffirming your beliefs, reaffirming your goals, living up to the person you want to be. And yeah, I hope that makes sense, and I hope that might help at least one of you. And it's easy to say, but it comes from experience and every day just trying to improve yourself, and knowledge, wisdom, reading, learning, speaking, communicating, experience of seeing different situations. But anyway, before I ramble on anymore, I'm going to get in, do cardio. I think I'm doing 40 minutes today. I'm normally doing 60, but I'm doing 40 today due to the being on the high calorie day, just so I'm keeping as much glycogen within my muscles and being energized as much as. So I'm going to do this cardio session, fuel my car up after, get back home, eat, prep my food, and then we're going to go and get a trim. So that's cardio done, smashed off. I only did 20 minutes. I checked my plan that coach had put on for the high days, and it's only 20 minutes today and tomorrow. Again, just to restore that, replenish that glycogen, and that all the calories that I'm having today are just getting put to my muscles and my energy. So yeah, just did 20 minutes on treadmill, called off at shop, and now back home. I'm going to have my 4 eggs and 50 grams of sourdough that I have every training day anyway. Nothing's changed there. And I'm going to quickly prepare my potatoes and probably my pre-workout meal as well, which will be skyr, oats and fruit. And then I'm going to get a quick shower and then head off to the barbershop. So
for May. Saving on minimum 24 months, 125 gigabyte airtime plan. Eligibility credit check included. Credit by Food Limited. Claim from Samsung in the debit.
Fresh trim done, and I'm feeling good. There is no better feeling as a man than getting a fresh trim. It's like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders. You've got your confidence back. Anyway, half an hour drive home now. Got my pre-workout, which I'll show you when I'm doing it. Then I'm going to go to farm shop, pick up my eggs, and then we've got a pool session to get in. Just going to train 2 to 3 reps in reserve, get a nice pump, feel the muscle, keep energy high, replenish that glycogen. And yeah, so it should be a good session. Gonna have a lot more food in me, a lot more energy, so I'm looking forward to it. And then yeah, we'll see where we're at after that. So a little change of plan. I'm gonna prep my food now. I'm gonna cook my beef and potatoes for my next meal, and then I'm gonna have some potatoes cooked for my post-workout meal, and then we'll have oats and whey drip to have later on. As well as obviously my pre-workout before I train, but I'm going to train a little bit later. So I'm going to have a black coffee now while I prep this food, stick a podcast on, get some work done because I've got a lot to do. Go out for a day, grab a coffee with my girlfriend, go on a walk, so on and so forth. Have my pre-workout, train, pull, and then I've got 1 or 2 meals left after that. So I'll have my post-workout and then probably an evening snack. So yeah, I'm going to cook up these, get them prepped, and then I ain't got to worry about it for the rest of the day because my chicken's already cooked. I just need to do my beef and potatoes. And then, yeah, that'll be it. So I'm going to have a black coffee while I do this, stick a podcast on, eat my beef and potatoes, get some work done, go out, chill for a bit, and then I'll see you for pre-workout. So we've got some prison food by the looks of it. Got about 300 grams of white potato, 150 grams of cooked mince, about 80 grams of a carrot, and then I've just chucked about 20 grams of this barbecue sauce, which is unreal. The macros for this is unmatched and it tastes unbelievable. So yeah, that's the next meal before I have my pre-workout. This will last me, I don't know, maybe 3 hours or so before I have my pre. So I've just come some steps around my local area to clear my mind, think about the module, think about the steps. I just wanted to get some better ideas, just refresh my mind a little bit, and in doing so, in walking around my area with my top off, absorbing the sun, vitamin D, just had me thinking that I'm so proud to be able to take my top off. Now, it's frowned upon a little bit. Yeah, in some countries, got to respect it. That's fair enough. Certain areas, you're not going to whip your top off. But for some reason in the UK, I seen a reel about it of this kid who was getting ready for a bodybuilding show. And he was saying, like, it's kind of frowned upon, in the UK. And he was saying, it's always the people who aren't in shape. Like, is it due to envy? Or is it due to people not thinking you have respect? For me, it's both. You're not going to whip a top off in the middle of a restaurant, or a beer garden or anything like that. When people are eating, when people are close, I get that. There's a time and a place, like a park, when there's kids around, you wouldn't do it. But walking around where anybody can access, walking around your street, walking around a lake, I have no problem with that at all. Especially if you're in shape. It's always the people who aren't in shape to say something. It's always the people who are just envy. They're envious that they can't achieve what you've got. Now, is taking your top off a flex? Depends how you look at it. I'm proud to walk around without my t-shirt off. Am I flexing a little bit? Maybe, depending on how you look at it, but I want to catch a tan. I want to absorb the sun. I want to boost my test. I want to get a tan. I want to feel good. So if I'm comfortable taking my t-shirt off and I look good in doing so, why the fuck wouldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I capitalise on that? I've worked hard for what I've built. And again, I'm not doing it purely for the flexing purpose, but I'm doing it to enjoy the sun. So I've just pulled up at my girlfriend's. We're about to go for a walk, get a little coffee, a little iced coffee. But before I do that, I'm going to eat what was going to be my post-workout meal. Obviously, as you've seen, the day's changing every hour. So we've got 125 grams of chicken breast, around 200 grams of white potato, and about 80 grams of a carrot. And I've also hit it with a bit of that barbecue sauce. So I'm going to eat that, go for this walk, coffee, and then we've got a bit of shit to do. And then I'm going to have my pre-workout meal. So I'm eating quite close together, which on a cut ain't normally the case, but I've been busy. The plans are changing nearly every hour today, so, and I forgot my Apple Watch. But yeah, so I'm gonna eat this, go for a walk, and then I'll show you what I'm having for pre-workout. So just got back from having a coffee and a walk. Just got back to my girlfriend's, and this is what we're having for pre-workout. So we've got 75 grams of oats, 200 grams of skyr on top, and then we've got 100 grams of frozen blueberries and 100 grams of prunes. So obviously prunes, good carbs, good sugars, good calories to get down in before a training session. And the prunes are also going to help with digestion, get some bowel movement into play. So yeah, hopefully that'll sort the digestion issue out too. So I'm going to get this down me and try and get straight to the gym. Nah, you're good, bro. Honestly. So we're back from the gym. Nice little pull session, 2 to 3 reps in reserve. Just got a nice squeeze, didn't push too hard, got a nice pump. So yeah, we're feeling good. Now is what I've been looking forward to all day. My coach has put 100 grams of oats, but because it's getting quite late, it's just gone 8:30, and I tried and have my last meal about an hour ago. So I'm probably going to do about 75 to maybe 80 grams of oats, almond milk, 100 grams of raspberries, and 40 grams of whey drip on top. But the way I do it is since starting this court, I've just found a different way to do it. Kind of kills the micronutrients in the raspberries, but wow, it tastes like a dessert. So I'm gonna show you how I do it. That's so stodgy. Shit. Add them on top. Boom. You see where I'm going with this now, don't you? Boom. Spread that on top. He says tiny bit more, because you want a nice thickness to it, but you want it to run a little bit as well. You have to perfect everything because you know how important the food is. Now that is what I'm talking about. And then when I put a spoon in it, it's going to be like a layer. It's going to be like a cheesecake. Nice.
Wednesday, Thursday. Today's actually been pretty good. I had a really good meeting.
So that's post-workout meal done, and that was my final meal. It's 9 o'clock right now, so it's a little bit late, but they went down a treat. Absolutely incredible. If you've got a sweet tooth, I highly recommend doing it like that. It's a long process, but the layers, it's like a cheesecake. Especially, you could add skyr on top like I did with my pre-workout. But anyway, that's that done. I'm going to get a shower, journal, get my clothes ready for tomorrow because I'm going to London for the day, and journal and go to sleep before 10 o'clock, ready to be up at 5, get my morning cardio in, and get ready for a full day in London. So that was just kind of a day in the life of what I'm eating on my refeed day to try and fix this digestion issue that I've got, that I've never had before until the past maybe 3 weeks. So I'll keep you updated. I'll keep you updated on the physique. We're 3 weeks out today before the photo shoot. Maybe, I need to get a little bit more shredded. I think I want to be in the best shape of my life. So got 3 weeks to dig deep and achieve the result. So see you in the next one.